I'm on?
You're on.
I'm on.
You're always on.
I am. Episode 16. Wow, 16 of No Traps, No Glory. It's been a hiatus. The last time, I forgot to look the date up of when we posted episode 15, but episode 15 was the wonderful sauna edition. And personally, it's fantastic. I don't even think I still recovered from it. It was that good. I'll be in the sauna again later today and using that to rejuvenate and warm myself, because in these cold winter months, the body responds much differently, as most people coming into the gym know, is that the cold weather seems to really change how you warm up, change how you move, and you got to do a lot to kind of mend your body and take care of it. And I know, especially as you get older, I'm not old, so I wouldn't know, but so I hear from those of the elders that I'm told, is that that the cold tends to wreak havoc a little bit more on the body in terms of just overall how it feels. And I know for myself personally, in the summer, and like a 90-degree day, I could come in, I could crack my knuckles, and I'm ready to go. The winter, my warm-up is much more extensive. I'm wearing multiple layers. And I think the multiple layers, that's all very important to be, let me back up. Being considerate of the temperature is very important when training in the winter, because your body will respond differently, the tissue will respond differently. And I think being well-dressed will aid in a better warm-up, and so too that'll aid in better training, because the body performs better when it's warmer, it recovers better when it's warmer. So this is something in the videos of people seeing me train, especially in this time of year, I have compression pants under sweatpants, and then shirt under sweatshirt, along with various wraps and a warmer. And it makes a big difference. The contrast of the body being warm and moving and the cold air hitting it can oftentimes have a pretty negative effect on your tissues and on your joints. So I think that's something that most people don't really address or abide by, especially in gyms like mine or other gyms. They're larger, open spaces. The heating is generally not that good, or it's no one turns it on because oil's so expensive. But taking proper precautions to keep your body at a good temperature, even some of the people that come here bring blankets, they wear blankets while they're training, helps a long way. And let's say outside of the physical aspect of your body staying warmer, if your body feels better, obviously by being warm and comfortable, mentally you'll be a lot better. And I don't know if it's, let's say, this time of year because of the shortening of the days and darkness coming much earlier, as well as the holidays, business schedules, whatever goes on at the end of the year. People seem to have, the focus seems to be a little bit more difficult. And also, too, getting sick, that's another thing, become more prevalent. People get sick. I'm just getting over something from like 2 weeks. And it makes it very difficult for you to be able to keep the mindset necessary for you to be able to perform at the level you're at, or at least the level that you're working to get towards and improving on. So a couple tips with that is that, one, don't worry about the weights. If you're sick, like I just had to scale down, work lighter, do what I could do, and continue to do things well. Eventually I'll be able to go heavy again without any consequence or feeling like complete death. And I think that's something everyone needs to remember, is that, work accordingly within the season, work accordingly within how your mindset is, because you want to develop good habits. It doesn't matter what the weights are, because next time you compete, you could go heavy then. But you want to maintain good habits to trust your technique, trust the consistency, and develop the consistency of your technique, and that will lead to, no matter what circumstances going on or the environment, lead you to having overall long-term consistency in training. So those are some tips that I'll first abide by for winter training, if you will. So that leads us to another aspect, or to venture off into one realm of the mental side of things. Now, what I've noticed through the years of my training is that my body always generally seems to perform its best in the springtime. The competition we do every year at Sacred Heart, I think that's like March, April. I always seem to have those have always been historically my best competitions. And my training leading up to that point have always, again, been my best trainings. And then summer is pretty decent, competition pretty decent. Then come fall and winter, my body seems to have a decline period, whatever it may be, the cold, getting sick, who knows. There could be multiple factors, one thing attributed to the next, I don't know. But ultimately, that seems the cycle that my body seems to flow in relative to when I perform my best versus when my body's not as well. So over the years, especially like years ago, I'd be like, oh man, what's going on? I still try to push harder, make a lot more mistakes in the off season, but now having the benefit of hindsight and this historical findings, if you will, I'm able to kind of get an idea and gauge where I'm going to be at throughout the seasons. And that's something I think that's very valuable to consider, because you're not always going to be operating at your maximum percent all the time. You're not going to be able to, do your best of your best continually throughout. The body's always ups and downs, ebbs and flows. And with that, I think it's important to recognize it and realize that if you're not feeling as great as you may have been, if you don't feel that great, you don't have to try to work so hard through it, especially in a time if you're not competing at any point soon, especially it's close to Christmas, close to New Year's and such. So a lot of things going on holiday-wise and people's focus, not to mention transitioning into the new year. That always brings a different mindset. But also, too, not worrying about what the weight on the bar is and focusing on what you can do to maintain. I think I've had previous podcasts about this, but not focusing about what the weight on the bar is, but focusing on what you can do to continue to develop the mindset that you need to. So when your body picks back up and you start lifting better and your body's getting more comfortable, either weather change or a lack of distraction, you're able to take the good technique, take good focus, and then the weights will come. Worrying about trying to do the same weight and cling on to maximum weights that you may have done at one point when your body's not in a cycle to be able to do that is something that you have to let go. And you just focus on what you can do to do everything really well. And that kind of like goes to what I was telling someone who's going to be competing for the first time next weekend, is that they're worried about, but this is the weight I need to do maximum weights. It doesn't matter how heavy you're lifting. If you look like garbage and you're lifting heavy weights, no one cares or remembers that. If you look like you know what you're doing, people remember that. Doesn't matter what the weight is. So you want to look like you're well trained, look like you know what you're doing. And that comes from being limited to focusing on the process and how you develop a process for yourself, which ultimately leads to, in the long run, more success. Okay. Here's a guest appearance, everybody, by our multi-time national champion, Masters national champion, Richard Condon. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
So, Mountain Man.
Yeah.
Going along with today's topic, how do you find...
I came in at the last minute, so what is today's topic?
Well, if my question will
okay.
Elucidate what we're getting at. Going along with today's topic that I've been discussing, sorry, I was holding the microphone too close. So, as the season changes, let's say going summer, fall, winter, do you find that you have a difference in how your body reacts from, let's say, the warmer weather to the colder weather in terms of how you approach your training, with the way your body reacts and responds?
Yes. So, me personally, as you know, I can't stand heat. It just withers me. So I really like the fall into the winter. I don't really like the brutal cold, but like the temperature it is in here today.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
Interesting.
And it definitely, although, I mean, the downside is as the days get really short, that definitely makes an inroad on my general mood.
And that's actually something that I made mention about, let's say the day being shorter, sun setting earlier, that having effect on your demeanor and such.
Well, that's why I train early.
Yeah. Well, you do that, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. Then no matter what, the day's going to be good. You got your training in.
That's interesting. Do you find that you perform better this time of year, or?
I think the fall is when I tend to lift the best. So
yeah.
like September, October, November.
Okay.
That's like my peak training season.
That's interesting, because I was just saying how I find that I lift the best usually in the spring. The summer's pretty good, and then the fall and winter is usually when I tend to my body tends to step back a little bit, and I kind of have to let it recover, regroup a little bit, whatever that may be, and then so everybody's individual.
True that.
Yeah, but national events are national events. They don't
That's
care
right.
about how your body feels, so you got to step up during that time.
You got to step up.
And what is our next national event?
Masters Nationals, baby.
Ah, that's right. Yours truly will be gracing the platform for the first time on the Elders circuit.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward
Sunday,
to it. And
youngster.
I know. And the best part
I
is
looked on Thursday.
yeah, he's well done. So the best part is that I'll be that's going to be in Orlando, so it'll be a warm weather. It's in April, so the weather will be much more favorable to my body and
Yeah,
such.
I'll just have to deal with that.
Yeah, you're going to have to deal with the overwhelming heat and such, but I think I'll...
Nothing will stop me.
No, nothing will. And plus climate controlled, it's got a hotel and everything.
Yeah,
but
it should be fine.
It'll be nice. We have a nice beach to go to and whatnot. Are we going to be near the beach? Or we're nowhere near the beach. Sorry, I don't know.
In the swamp.
Oh, it's in the swamp. Well, I'll ride an alligator. All right, excellent. Well, Mountain Man, thank you for your guest appearance.
It was my pleasure.
Much appreciated. So, I think that's some good input that we have from the Mountain Man there. And essentially, too, just goes to show the contrast between him and I. He prefers the cold weather and training in cooler environments. I thrive in the heat. On the hottest days, I love training. I feel great. I lift well. I don't have any trouble with it. So I think it's the unique aspect of lifting is that every body is different. And now kind of digressing from, I guess, our original topic, it just goes to show that how everybody approaches training or how coaches approach training every athlete needs to be considered. What need to be considered is how the athlete responds in various conditions and overall trends that their body has. Let's say for women, it's cycles and time of the month. For, let's say, men like Mountain Man or other people, how their body tolerates either volume, how their body tolerates different temperatures. I know during the summer months when I give Mountain Man his workouts, I have to be, especially on a hotter day. I know he trains earlier in the morning to avoid the heat, but on hotter days I have to give him much less work and much less volume because he overheats so quickly, whereas I could be fine with it. Again, from a coaching standpoint, that's, I think, something where it comes from learning your athletes, knowing how they develop, what affects them, and not just handing out rote programs. Everybody's doing this, you got to do all this work, because in the long run, what's that going to do for someone? At least in my opinion, what's that going to do for somebody? Because if you have just someone doing, okay, I have to get all this work done, they do all this work, how does that help them? If they're doing like 800 sets of sloppy exercises because they're either tired or the heat's affecting them negatively or they're too cold, or it could even lead to injury at some point. So that's the approach I take. And then, again, the mental aspect. When you feel good and you're mentally comfortable and stable, you lift very well. So you have to take steps to ensure that in the mental aspect, you do everything you can, even in cold weather, hot weather, whatever affects you, to keep your mind in a good place to where you can control some aspect of your environment, whether it be immediate through clothing or putting a towel on your head or a Baptist church fan, whatever it might be. Or how heavy you go, which is another, thank you, Mr. Producer, or how heavy you go, so that way it dictates that you could have quality training and maintain your confidence all throughout. So I think these are just little simple tips, maybe. Whether you find them helpful, I don't know, but hopefully that will resonate with you. The mental thing, weightlifting's mental. The more you can do to keep your mind in a good place and learn how to control all the different variables and keep yourself from understanding, okay, this is how today is, and having a long-term broad focus, then I think you'll be setting yourself up for greater success, and ultimately that's what we want. So that's really all I got for today. I would like to say congratulations to the newly wed Mr. and Mrs. Basciano, which I presided over the ceremony. Bless you, my children. And that's it. So that's all we got for episode 16. Short, sweet, to the point, special guest appearance. I mean, what more could you ask for? Not much, right, Mr. Producer? Correct. Okay. So until next time, make sure you follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, like everything we do, share everything we do, and email us with topics, text, anything, and we'll just keep hammering out some good programs for you.